Welcome to this interview about Formula One. Let's start with Andrea. How did you see the race in Monza?
Yes, I was there in Monza, participating to the Grand Prix, and yes, it was a very big event. Not only on the track, but I would say also on the grandstands, full of people attending the event. Around 400,000 people on the grandstand. That's a huge record. And the nice thing is that we saw a lot of children, a lot of young people. So this is absolutely a very good sign for Formula One.
Who was the leader of the race for you?
I would say that the leader there was Verstappen, but my heart would say Charles Leclerc.
And now, Richard, do you agree?
It was interesting because the starting grid was very mixed up with the grid penalties that some of the teams had to take with new power units, different tire strategies during the race as well, which made it even more interesting.
And who was the leader for you?
Ferrari this time made no mistakes, which in terms of strategy, the pit stops, everything was good. Leclerc was on form. In the end, though, Verstappen and Red Bull are just in a league of their own. So clearly leading the way, and they deserve it. I mean, they've done well to get a car that has such outstanding performance.
How would you describe the role of SKF products, for example, bearings, in the performance of a car during an F1 race?
Yeah, I mean, bearings have an incredibly important role in the car. I mean, without bearings, the car wouldn't go very far, and it certainly wouldn't go very fast. So there's over 300 bearings in a typical F1 car, in the suspension, the wheels, engine, gearbox, and so on. And then on top of that, there's all the bearings that we supply to the supporting functions, like the testing departments, including condition monitoring, so those kind of services that are all there in addition. So in terms of performance, the smallest friction reduction or weight reduction that we can squeeze out of these already optimized bearings can contribute to gains of tenths of seconds in a lap time. And that may not sound like much, but for F1, 10th of a second is well worth having. It makes a big difference.
From a technical point of view, what makes a car faster than others in Formula One?
But of course, a car's performance is primarily governed, I would say, by aerodynamics and the raw power of the power unit, and managing that power, maximizing energy recovery, using the hybrid electric system efficiently, and so on. There's so much that goes into it. I mean, but then there's the details, and looking into the details of each individual component in the car, in terms of weight, efficiency, and the optimization of those components. That's incredibly important, and that's where SKF comes in. And I think with our know-how, our innovation, and our technologies, with our different concepts and design choices, as I mentioned before, coatings and ceramic rolling elements and these kind of things, and then our technical support as well. I think that can make all the difference.
As you know, Formula One wants to be carbon-free sport by 2030. How is SKF helping the racing industry become carbon-free?
Yes, that's correct. Since many years, Formula One has, let's say, set this very ambitious target to be net zero carbon by 2030. And we, for example, reduce friction in our parts using ceramic bowls, ceramic rollers. Now we are developing ceramic needles. So we measure from our simulation and from our test bench and in the car, also friction reduction by 70%, which is a huge achievement. But it's not the only way we contribute in reducing friction, which then leads to a less CO2 emission of the cars. We also use lighter components. We produce bearings with lighter materials. We use manufacturing technologies such as 3D printing, which also allow us to produce lighter parts in the car. So those are only few examples.
Then, is it feasible to achieve this goal by 2030?
Yes, that is, it's something that is already planned and the steps are clear. For example, in 2026, we will have a middle step with the introduction of new power units, with new fuels, fully sustainable, which will be a massive revolution, not only for Formula One, but for the future mobility.
Formula E has shown to have less of an impact on the environment than F1 racing. How can F1 and Formula E could work together in the racing industry?
Both sports are under the same umbrella, let's say, and under the FIA institution. So the people that are working in the two sports work together. We see exchange of drivers between the two competitions, but it is not only drivers, it is also between engineers, knowledge sharing, and so on. So yes, those for the future, let's say that Formula E can be a further accelerator for Formula One to achieve this goal for the future.
Now to both of you. With the new philosophy in terms of sustainability, how would you describe the future of Formula One in 3 words?
What comes to mind is leading the way. Those are the 3 words I would use. Leading the way as they've always done in F1, I believe. So using fully sustainable synthetic fuels, which incidentally can be a very good drop-in solution for existing combustion engines on cars, buses, lorries on the road today. So that's already an incredible step forward if we can achieve that, and I'm sure they will. So fully sustainable fuels, synthetic fuels, using carbon capture and clean hydrogen production to make those fuels, and developing engines with even more hybridization, more electrical power. So all these changes that are coming in over the next years. For me, I think that's leading the way.
Yes, so we'll try to be as quick as possible. I think responsibility, which is what we need to have for the future generation. But now Formula One is different from the past in not pure racing, but as we said about the 2030 targets of carbon, to be net zero carbon means responsibility for the future generations. Commitment. This is not just something that we say. It is a true effort, and as I described before, is based on a concrete and shared program between all the stakeholders, and fun, because still Formula One is fun. So we should not forget that this is racing, and should be always considered as a part of Formula One, even for the future and for the new generation. So responsibility, commitment, and fun.